Tell your mama dig her ass and post a picture that look better than my motherfucking mama. What's wrong with you?
Welcome back to BuzzBuster. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss daily videos. King Harris just lost it in the wildest way ever. He clapped back by posting a picture of 50 Cent's mom's grave and wrote, "Go dig her up." That's way past disrespectful, like straight up cruel. Everyone knows 50 Cent never lets anyone disrespect him, not even a little. Now he's coming straight for King Harris after that grave post, and things are getting out of control fast. The drama's getting deep, and it all started when 50 posted a photo of Tiny Harris performing on stage. But here's the thing, the photo looked bad on purpose. Rough angle, harsh lighting, just plain unflattering. It didn't look like a random choice either. With 50's history of calculated shade, everyone could tell he did that intentionally. And 50 didn't just post it on his story to vanish in 24 hours. Nah, he dropped it right on his main feed, front and center, permanent for everyone to see. That post wasn't going anywhere. It was the kind that racks up thousands of comments, keeping the drama alive every time someone scrolls by. The caption? Cold and simple. No tags, no rant, just that icy message. Keep my name out your mouth. Everyone immediately knew who he was talking about. It was a direct shot aimed at T.I. Wild, right? Tiny wasn't even part of the problem, yet 50 used her image like a chess move to strike at T.I.
Disrespecting T.I.'s family, more specifically T.I.'s wife, Tiny. 50 took to Instagram and posted a not so flattering photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny.
All this heat just because T.I. kept bringing up that versus debate? That's petty on a whole new level. But let's get one thing straight. Tiny Harris isn't just T.I.'s wife. She's a legend in her own right, a founding member of Escape, one of the biggest R&B groups of the 90s, dropping timeless hits like Just Kicking It and Who Can I Run To. She's been grinding for over 3 decades, building her own empire and stacking her own money. So when King Harris threw that "Go dig her up" line, he crossed a serious line. Things just went from messy to downright ruthless. Tiny deserves respect. She's got fame, legacy, and her own spot in music history. But 50 tried to shrink all that down to a single shady photo just to mess with T.I.'s head. That's real disrespect right there. And then came the final jab, the shrug emoji, the ultimate symbol of arrogance. He tossed it in like, yeah, whatever, as if posting another man's wife to his 30 million followers was just his morning routine. That little emoji said it all.
He posts a picture of Tiny, and he says, "I keep saying keep my name out your mouth," and puts up like a shrug emoji and says,
it was pure mockery. It was like 50 was saying, yeah, I did it, so what? That move alone lit the internet on fire. The post spread everywhere, fast. Within hours, T.I.'s oldest son, King Harris, saw it, and he didn't waste a second joke. No memes, no cryptic messages, just straight heat. King went right for the jugular and dropped a cold comment under 50's post. "Where your mama?" with the eyes emoji. Brutal. If you know 50's story, you know why that hit deep. His mother, Sabrina Jackson, tragically passed away in 1983 when he was just 8 years old. That's not something to play with, and everyone knew it instantly. Still, King threw that pain into the spotlight for millions to see, bold and reckless. But King didn't stop there. He went way further. He jumped on his own Instagram and dropped something that shocked everyone. A photo of Sabrina Jackson's actual headstone, 50 Cent's late mother's grave. Her name, birth year 1958, and death year 1983 were carved clearly on the stone. Then King tagged 50 directly and wrote, "Yo, dig up your mama." Later, another version of the post popped up with the caption, "This where your mama at." That was beyond cold, no sugarcoating, no hesitation. And he still wasn't done. He hopped in his car, hit record, and went off in a full-blown rant across multiple Instagram stories. No filter, no script, just raw emotion. Clip after clip, he kept firing off, doubling down instead of cooling off. It was pure chaos spilling out online. King circled right back to that grave post, reposting it with the blunt caption, "This where your mama at."
Go dig her up. Post a picture of your mama, because she dead. Pay respect.
He wasn't backing down for a second. The message was clear. The boundary had been crossed for everyone watching. Think about it. 50 posted a picture of Tiny, and in response, King blasted a photo of 50's mother's grave, then dared a man who lost his mom at 8 to dig her up. That's not normal trolling, that's hitting way below the belt. It landed like a sucker punch to the gut. King even threw out lines like, "My mama a legend, your mama," leaving it hanging like a cold jab. And one night, the whole thing blew up from online shade into one of the most personal and ruthless beefs hip-hop has seen in a long time. The wildest part is how small the spark was.
All this chaos, the grave posts, the insults, the raw anger, came from something that was supposed to be about music. The entire firestorm started over talk of a versus battle that never happened. It's crazy that one conversation allegedly in Los Angeles between T.I. and 50 Cent, while they were both in town doing film and TV business, set it off. Here's how it reportedly went down. Someone suggested a verse, and T.I. says he and 50 sat face to face and agreed on the vibe, the setup, and the whole plan. But then out of nowhere, 50 ghosted him. No follow-up, no call, no text.
Posting my mama, legend, your mama, Jay.
Just silence. That breakdown was laid out by T.I. on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast with Gilda King and Whack 100, where he walked listeners through each step in detail. T.I. said the vision was clean. Two Southern legends celebrating their catalogs. No beef, no shade, no ego, just classic records, real bars, and respect for the culture. But instead, the silence turned a negotiation into a blow-up that dragged legacies and people's families into the mud. While both T.I. and 50 were out in L.A. working the entertainment scene, pitching TV and film projects, everything seemed smooth between them. They were vibing, talking business, and 50 looked all in on the idea. According to how T.I. told it, they even had a full plan locked down. T.I. would go public first, call 50 out for a versus battle, and then 50 would back it up publicly, co-sign it to keep the hype alive. It was supposed to be a clean setup, a win-win for the culture and for hip-hop fans everywhere. And T.I. did exactly what they agreed on. No delays, no backing out. He pulled up to Shannon Sharp's Nightcap podcast and dropped 50 Cent's name straight into the conversation. Bold move. On that show, T.I. made it clear as day. He wanted that matchup. He wanted the challenge, the spotlight, and the energy that comes with it. He even said straight up that he felt like 50 was ducking the smoke. But when T.I. made that first move, just like they planned, 50 completely flipped the script. He left T.I. hanging like there was never a deal at all.
Moving around in L.A., man, selling some TV shows while we were around each other, man, you know what I mean? I said, what you think about this?
Suddenly, he acted like T.I. was just some random rapper trying to chase clout with his name. No backstory, no understanding, no respect. That's when everything changed for T.I. The frustration turned real. It stopped being about a friendly musical showdown. It became about trust and character. From T.I.'s point of view, this wasn't just industry drama anymore. This was personal. He felt blindsided, not by an enemy, but by someone he thought was on the same page. T.I. wasn't asking for anything crazy either. He was like, if you don't want to do it, cool, just say that. Be real about it. But agreeing in private, then switching up in public, that's what hit deep. You could hear the disappointment in T.I.'s tone whenever he talked about it. It wasn't anger. It was that quiet kind of hurt that comes from realizing someone played fake when the cameras turned on. The respect completely vanished. T.I. went from wanting to share a stage with 50 Cent to wanting nothing at all to do with him. Not as a collaborator, not as a peer, not even as two men standing in the same room. That's how deep the fallout ran. Then T.I. dropped one line that blew up everywhere. Blogs, headlines, comment sections, it went viral instantly. That one quote flipped the whole tone of the feud. But from 50 Cent's side, things looked totally different. See, 50 had been brushing off the whole versus talk for years. He called it something that only mattered during the lockdown, said it had its moment during the pandemic, but he had already moved on. To him, it wasn't worth the time anymore. 50 was locked in on his TV and film empire, Power, BMF, and a whole list of new projects on deck. He was stacking brand deals, expanding his reach, and running his business like a boss. The man hadn't dropped an album since 2014, and in his mind, music was just an old chapter. He'd turned that page a long time ago. So when T.I. kept calling him out, 50's responses were classic vintage 50, short, cold, and with that signature trolling energy. He hit Instagram with a stream of posts all saying the same thing: keep my name out your mouth. Every post had a different meme, but the same smug shrug emoji at the end. That little symbol became his trademark move, like he was saying, I'm too cool to care. Each time he posted, it painted T.I. as the one chasing clout, like 50 was sitting back unbothered, watching the noise roll in. But then things got dark fast. 50 suddenly switched gears in the comments and started calling T.I. King Rat. Now that's not light talk. Those are fighting words in the streets. Calling someone a rat, basically accusing them of working with law enforcement, is one of the lowest and most dangerous shots you can take. And T.I. wasn't letting that fly, not for a second. He clapped back with fire. He posted, "You playing with my name when only one of us is a rat in real life." Then he doubled down and wrote, "You know I got your paperwork." That was T.I.'s way of saying, don't test me, I got receipts. The tension was through the roof at that point. What started as a simple music debate had turned into a full-blown war of words between two industry heavyweights, and neither one looked ready to back down.
T.I. basically threw down the gauntlet. He dared 50 to either step into the versus ring or stay silent for good. By the time February 22nd rolled around, the tension had been brewing for weeks. Podcasts, interviews, slick comments, and non-stop subliminals were flying both ways. What started as a fun versus idea meant to celebrate two legendary catalogs had twisted into a messy, full-blown feud, so toxic it ended up pulling innocent family members into the chaos. And that's where Sabrina Jackson's name came into the story. The moment that made everyone in hip-hop stop and say, whoa, that's too far. Because once you understand who Sabrina Jackson really was, you realize why King Harris's post hit with such a deep, painful sting. See, this wasn't the story of a celebrity's mother who lived a quiet life and passed peacefully with a beautiful farewell. Nah, Sabrina's story was raw, tragic, and unfinished. Her life ended in heartbreak, and to this day, her killer was never caught. She wasn't just anybody. She was a young woman from South Jamaica, Queens, born around 1958, trying to make it in one of the toughest neighborhoods in New York. At just 15 years old, Sabrina gave birth to Curtis Jackson, the boy who would grow up to become 50 Cent. From day one, she was handling everything solo. No partner, no support system, just pure grit and determination to give her son a shot at life. She hustled hard to survive in a world that didn't show mercy. People close to her said she was fearless, independent, and sharp, but life in those streets was brutal. Every single day was a battle to keep her baby safe, fed, and alive. That struggle, her sacrifice, was the foundation of everything that built 50 Cent into who he is today. Her story shaped his hunger, his toughness, and his drive. So when King Harris decided to post that photo of her grave, it didn't just hit 50, it cut deep across the whole culture. Everyone felt it. It wasn't just an insult, it was disrespecting the pain and the legacy of a woman who fought to survive when the odds were stacked against her. To make sure little Curtis had food to eat and a place to sleep, Sabrina Jackson made a choice that a lot of people in her position felt forced into. She stepped into the drug game. This wasn't about greed or glamour, it was about survival, plain and simple. This was South Jamaica, Queens, right in the heart of the early crack era, a time when the streets were ruthless and survival meant doing whatever it took to make it to the next day. The late 70s and early 80s were brutal, especially for a young, single black mother with no support system and no real options. For Sabrina, the hustle wasn't some wild decision, it was survival mode turned all the way up. 50 Cent has opened up about his mom many times over the years, and every story paints the same picture. Sabrina Jackson was built different. She was tough as steel, no softness, no sugarcoating, no fear. She ruled her home with the same strength she commanded on the block, strict, bold, and never backing down. In 50's own words, she was both my mother and my father. That line says everything. He shared stories that show exactly how she operated, like when she'd stuff toys into socks to make makeshift weapons so he could protect himself at school. That was her way of saying, you gotta be ready for the world out there. Another story 50 told was about the time he was crying on the floor as a kid,
and Sabrina looked him dead in the eyes and told him, "Get up and stop acting like a little girl." Harsh? Maybe, but that was her version of love. The only way she knew how to raise a boy in a world where weakness could get you hurt. She wasn't teaching comfort, she was teaching survival. Then came 1983, the year that changed everything forever. Sabrina Jackson was killed under chilling circumstances. She was only about 24 or 25 years old, and little Curtis was just 8. The way she died still haunts people to this day. And even after 4 decades, the case remains unsolved. According to 50 Cent's own interviews going back to the mid-2000s, someone slipped something into her drink to knock her out and then turned on the gas inside her apartment deliberately. That act ended her life and shattered Curtis's world in one night. Her death wasn't just tragic, it was cruel and senseless. And that's why decades later, when someone used her memory as a weapon in an online feud, it struck a nerve across hip-hop. Sabrina's story represents strength, pain, and sacrifice, the roots of 50 Cent's entire identity. That's what made King Harris's post sting far deeper than any diss track ever could. It was cold, calculated, and heartbreaking beyond words, the kind of loss that changes a person forever. Sabrina Jackson's death wasn't just tragic, it was brutal and suspicious from the very start. She died from carbon monoxide poisoning, mixed with flames that tore through her home, a horrifying scene that screamed foul play from the moment police stepped in. When investigators arrived, they knew right away this wasn't some random accident. The gas lines had been tampered with, and it was clear she'd been drugged before the fire. Every sign pointed to a setup, yet even with all that evidence, nobody was ever charged. No suspects, no motive, nothing. Decades later, the case is still stone cold. 42 years have passed, and there's still no closure, no justice, and no official documentation released to the public.
No coroner's findings, no police follow-ups, just silence. Everything the world knows about Sabrina Jackson's death comes directly from 50 Cent himself. Him piecing together the fragments as an adult, looking back on the darkest moment of his childhood. After her death, 8-year-old Curtis Jackson was taken in by his grandparents, his grandmother, Beulah Jackson, and his grandfather in the same South Jamaican neighborhood where his mom once hustled to keep him safe. Their house was small and packed, about 8 relatives under one roof, but it became his whole world. His biological father had disappeared long before, leaving Curtis with nothing but the memories of his mom's love and lessons. 50 Cent has said in countless interviews that losing his mother changed everything about him. He's admitted that every time life got rough, he'd think, if my mother was here, it wouldn't be like this. That thought followed him everywhere, through every fight, every loss, and even every win. To honor her, he got her name, Sabrina, tattooed on his right forearm with the words "Ghetto Angel" inked beside it, a permanent reminder of the woman who raised him, protected him, and shaped him before the world took her away far too soon. Sabrina Jackson's final resting place is Rockville Cemetery in Lynbrook, Nassau County, New York. That's the same grave, the one that carries her name, her years, and her story, that King Harris decided to post online. He found it, snapped a photo, and threw it up on Instagram for millions to see, tagging 50 Cent and writing, "Dig your mama up." That single post wasn't just disrespectful, it was heartless. It dragged one of hip-hop's deepest personal tragedies into the public spotlight for shock value. To the culture, it wasn't just another online beef, it was crossing into sacred ground. For 50 Cent, that grave wasn't just a stone, it was the last piece of the woman who built him from nothing. Millions of people saw that post, and it sent instant shockwaves through social media. It wasn't just disrespect, it was a straight-up shot aimed at one of the most painful parts of 50 Cent's entire life. That's why everyone started asking the same thing. What could have possibly made King Harris take it that far? King Harris is only 21 years old, but his name's been buzzing since the day he was born. His full name is Clifford King Harris Jr., the eldest biological son of T.I. and Tiny Harris, born August 26, 2004 in Atlanta, Georgia. From the very start, he was born into fame. No quiet childhood, no chance to move in silence. Cameras were around before he could even talk.
By the time T.I. and Tiny, the family hustle, hit TV screens in 2011, King was already used to being filmed non-stop. Every family moment, every argument, every high and low, right there for millions to watch. He saw his dad juggle everything: industry beefs, legal troubles, business moves, and public pressure while staying in the spotlight. And on the other side, he watched his mom, Tiny Harris, hold it all together while shining in her own right. As one of the founding members of Escape, one of the coldest R&B girl groups of the 90s, she was the perfect mix of star power and strength. Tiny was the rock of the Harris family, balancing fame, motherhood, and legacy like a pro. Growing up in that world shaped King completely. He's been working to create his own lane in music, going by the name Kid Cyan, dropping singles and freestyles that match the life he's known: flashy, confident, and raw. His flow reflects his upbringing, luxury mixed with hustle. But no matter how hard he tries to stand on his own, the public keeps seeing him one way: T.I.'s son. He's the firstborn of one of hip-hop's most famous families, and the one who always seems ready to defend his mom whenever her name's brought up. That fierce loyalty is what fans both admire and worry about, because King doesn't hold back. He's spoken plenty of times about how heavy that pressure feels, the comparisons, the expectations, the constant judgment. Everywhere he goes, eyes are on him. Every post, every interview, every word, people are watching, waiting for him to either rise to his dad's legacy or slip under the weight of it. That's why everyone started asking the same thing: what could have possibly made King Harris take it that far? King didn't stop to think it through. There was no publicist in his ear, no let's wait and cool off moment, just pure, raw emotion. He reacted instantly, fueled by anger and pride, watching a grown man with over 30 million followers clown his mom for the world to see. Logic disappeared, instinct took over. And here's the thing, reacting wasn't the problem. Any son in his shoes would have been furious if someone came for their mother like that. Most people could relate to the rage. But the issue wasn't the anger, it was how far he took it. Instead of keeping it about 50's attitude or the versus drama, throwing a few lyrical jabs or letting words fly, King went straight to the darkest, most off-limits place possible. He tracked down 50 Cent's late mother's grave, Sabrina Jackson's headstone, and posted it for millions to see online. That move didn't just shock the internet, it froze it. It crossed from emotional reaction into something that felt calculated and cruel. Even people who understood his pain said that line should have never been crossed, no matter how heated the moment got. Then came the part that made it hit even harder: the contradiction. Right in the middle of all that chaos, King said, "I wasn't raised like that." But in the same breath, he told a man to dig up his mother's remains. The irony hit heavy. Those words showed just how lost in anger he really was in that moment. He tried to stand on moral high ground, but he ended up sinking into one of the deepest moral holes imaginable. In hip-hop, there's an unspoken rule that everyone knows: you never disrespect someone's deceased parent. That's sacred territory. Even in a culture built on battles, disses, and rivalries, that's one boundary you don't cross. One YouTuber who covered the drama summed it up perfectly. He said he understood King's rage because it was real and raw, but he also predicted something serious was coming behind the scenes: parental accountability. He said he wouldn't be surprised if T.I. and Tiny pulled King aside privately for a tough heart-to-heart talk, because even though his emotions made sense, that grave post went way too far. And that's the thing. Even though the Harris family is known for standing strong together, this time was different. Publicly defending that post would only drag things deeper into darkness. Behind closed doors, it's almost certain that T.I. and Tiny had to step in, not as celebrities, but as parents, trying to teach his son the same lesson the whole culture was shouting: there are some lines you just don't cross, no matter who you are or how angry you get. Honestly, hip-hop's history is full of moments where family members get pulled into beefs, and it almost never ends well. Every time that line gets crossed, things turn personal fast, and the damage goes way beyond music. Think back to Tupac, who took it to the edge when he dropped that infamous line, "I slept with your wife, Faith," on Hit 'Em Up. That one bar turned an already tense East Coast-West Coast rivalry into something heartbreakingly personal. Suddenly, it wasn't just about rap, it was about family, pride, and pain. Then there was Jay-Z versus Nas, another legendary feud that went too far. Jay fired shots on Super Ugly, getting graphic about Nas's child mother, Carmen Bryant. That move hit so low that even Jay's own mother called Hot 97 live on air and made him apologize publicly. Imagine that, your own mother stepping in to tell you you've crossed the line. Carmen Bryant later spoke out about how that track changed everything, how the pain, the humiliation, and the fallout rippled through not just music, but their families' lives. She said Jay-Z regretted dropping that record almost immediately after it hit the airwaves, realizing he'd let his emotions take full control. What was meant to be a power move in a rap war ended up being emotional baggage that followed him for years and scarred a piece of his legacy. And that's exactly where the parallel with King Harris hits clear as day. When someone feels like their family's being attacked, the instinct is always the same, to strike back fast and hard. The heart takes over, and suddenly it's no longer about music, status, or pride. It's about revenge. But once the flames die down, the same question always comes up. What now? What happens when you've gone so far that there's no coming back? Because once those words, or in King's case, those posts go out to the world, you can't erase them. The fallout hits harder than the fury that started it. It's the same cycle, backlash or regret or both. That wave almost always drowns out the anger that caused it in the first place. Jay-Z learned that lesson back in 2001. One line too far, one track too personal, and suddenly the whole narrative flipped. It stopped being about bars and started being about the damage left behind. So now the question everyone's asking is, will King Harris learn that same lesson in 2026? Or will history repeat itself? Because while the internet was still spinning from his shocking grave post, T.I. himself decided to step right into the fire. The man didn't hide or wait for things to cool down. He charged straight into the storm.
Within hours of his son's outburst, T.I. hit the studio late on February 22nd, rolling into the early hours of February 23rd, 2026, and started recording a brand new diss track. From the first few bars, it sounded like a declaration of war. It was sharp, emotional, and heavy. T.I. wasn't just defending his family, he was firing back at everyone trying to test his name. The beat hit hard, but the words hit harder. What started as internet chaos was now turning into something official, a full-blown lyrical battlefield that could define how this entire feud plays out in hip-hop history. T.I. didn't just link up with anybody for this one. He went straight to DJ Toomp, the same legendary producer behind some of his biggest hits like What You Know and Bring 'Em Out. Together, they helped shape an entire era of Southern trap. So when those two reunited, fans knew something serious was about to drop. The chemistry was still electric, sharp, dangerous, and full of that signature edge. The beat itself sounded like a warning. Dark, brooding synths laid over booming 808s and crisp trap drums that hit like thunder. This wasn't a playful diss, it was war music. The kind of track you drop when you're ready to burn bridges and let the world know you're not backing down. T.I. wasn't playing this time. He was clearly on a mission. Just a few hours later, he dropped a short preview on Instagram, and the internet went wild instantly. The caption read, "OU needs 66 ass, want war 8? We on that. Got the right one this time." And then came the duck emoji, a direct, deliberate jab at 50 Cent. It was a callback to T.I.'s old comments calling 50 a duck, slang for somebody who dodges confrontation or hides behind excuses. That one emoji said it all. T.I. was done joking, the games were over, and the battle lines were officially drawn. The hashtag he added hinted that this time he felt like he finally had both the perfect reason and the perfect target to unleash that long-buried lyrical fury. The snippet was short, maybe a minute tops, but it was pure energy. You could hear that classic Atlanta-bred cadence, the same fiery tone that made T.I. one of the South's sharpest voices back in his trap music era. Every bar sounded like a warning, confident, venomous, and cold. Fans flooded the comments immediately. Some were hyped to see T.I. back in full battle mode, spitting with that hunger they'd missed. Others were shocked he was doubling down instead of backing off, worried the whole situation was about to explode even further. But one thing was crystal clear. This wasn't just music anymore. This was personal. By sunrise, the internet was absolutely on fire. The snippet had been reposted, remixed, and dissected line by line across every major platform. Hip-hop blogs started calling it the calm before the storm, while fan pages and influencers picked sides, half screaming Team T.I., the other half shouting 50 still runs it. It was chaos, digital warfare in real time. And right in the middle of that noise, 50 Cent finally made his move. But in true 50 fashion, it wasn't with a verse, it was with a moment only he could pull off. He hopped on Instagram, posted a black and white photo of himself laughing in the studio, and captioned it, "He finally wrote one. Took long enough." That one line detonated across the internet like a bomb. He didn't even need a full diss track, just that smug, confident energy that said, "I'm still running this." Within hours, the memes started flooding in. Fans began photoshopping fake versus posters of T.I. versus 50, remixing their photos into boxing match flyers. Others clowned both sides, posting jokes and cryptic emojis. Even a few celebrities jumped in, some laughing, some stirring the pot, some hinting that the real war hadn't even started yet. Social media turned into a battleground overnight, and with both camps gearing up, fans knew one thing for sure. This wasn't ending with memes or captions. A storm was coming, and it had the whole hip-hop world watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep up with every twist as this story keeps unfolding, make sure you subscribe right now. Hit that button so you don't miss the next wild chapter, because trust me, it's only getting crazier.